Sorry, I had to like last episode I had to kind of rush at that at the end. So, Monster Crown. Welcome to Dokapon. Monster Crown is a great game. Is a great monster collecting game. Set in a bit more of a gritty universe. You're not catching and befriending monsters. You're making contracts with them, and a formal agreement for you to become, you become stronger as well as your monsters. While bonds can form between the people and the monsters, it's only a very scant few that look at it like that. Yeah, so the last stream I did, I did some story progression. I knew I unlocked some the more breeding stuff, the fusion stuff, and the chromosome stuff. Monster Crown, let me back up a minute, is exceptionally has an exceptionally robust breeding system. That's very interesting. It's a very big ordeal. You go through, you get sorry, I'm just listening to something interesting. Sorry. So. I did something. Sorry. No, yes, I did do something. I played it, and I got very far into the breeding section. I got very deep into it, and I made what currently is... Well, okay, not currently. I made what at the time was the best monster sort of palette I could make. So that involves making... in my case, now, okay, so obviously it is an RPG. It's very freeform. There's not one be-all, end-all meta monster. There's not one best monster build. There are several. You might want to take a more balanced approach. You might want to specialize into something. But you can't just dump the biggest stats into it. You could try, but there's a thing that will happen. You have base stats, HP, attack, magic, attack, and defense and resistance. I assume resistance is like magical defense. What else? Speed, and growth rate, which is basically a multiplier for so say if you have an attack of 2 and you have a growth rate of 1, every level up you will get 2 attack. If you have a growth rate of 1.3, you will get 2.6. Right? Yeah. Unless I'm really derping. You'll get 2.6 attack, and you can see where that would go. However, if the total of your base stats exceed 18, you will have like negative repercussions. You will have negative repercussions, and it will not be a good day. There are ways to also increase them in case it's not at 18 yet. But I think I haven't actually... It's sort of a chance thing where it's like you can have a creature can have this certain thing that allows them to be able to modify their base stats. I think. I haven't gotten to that part yet because it seems to be like a pretty rare occurrence. Yeah, currently, the sort of meta, the best build I've been able to make is a thing that has, I think it's a total of like 15 and a half or something like that, 15.6 I think, or something like that. It's not quite to the max, and like, you know, the highest growth rate I think you can get is 1.4. I have 1.3. All the stats are like, I think the highest one is like 2.5. You know, it's not bad, but it's certainly not the best, but it's a good enough to get me through the rest of the game. But the last stream, I sort of ended with the realization that I needed to actually get a good team. My current team was not pushing it, and that was including the cheesed boss monster I got, Death, by going to a place and just chucking basically Monster Crown's equivalent of a Master Ball at it. Death is OP, but is my most powerful monster, but its base stats are not that good. It's max level. It's very powerful, and what I'm currently doing, I breeded out some of the best base stats I have, and I'm building up a team like that. But currently, Death is carrying them through the grind, and I'm gonna level up until I'm level 60 at least, probably level 70. I don't know, and you know, I'm gonna go back to the boss and deal with her. Unfortunately, I kind of did actually get the ending spoiled for me, but I won't spoil it for you. And even then, it's only like the end of the main game, I think. I think the after game is where some very interesting things can happen. But I love it. It's a really complicated thing. I think probably there are some weird there is some jank about it, but the actual monster collection part of it is absolutely amazing, and definitely worth it. The breeding mechanics are extraordinarily deep, and like they are really fun to go through and try and like, get like the perfect monster. Granted, if there was a way to like just improve base stats in it of itself, and you had a little bit more, you know, freedom to play around, and also, okay, so also how it works, you know, you have like 200 roughly monsters, and with a few exceptions, there are there's one base form and 1 base form and 5 other forms based on all of the types. Probably the biggest weakness, in my opinion, of the game is that the way that the forms work, whichever parent is not passing down the species, the type of that determines the form, which is something I don't know why I struggle so hard to remember that. But it's just a very odd thing, because at the beginning of the game, when you have you can modify the chromosomes so that like you select, oh, do I want a primary do I want the primary parent to pass down the attack stat, or the secondary parent for the attack stat, and all of that, and you use those custom genes in order to get exactly what you want, and it's a very involved process. And the form thing is just one of those things that I don't know, like, it would be nice if you could just choose if there was some way you could just choose a bit more directly, you know. But it's still an amazing game though, and that is again the only downside in my opinion.